Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video of Littlewargame. Today I'm bringing you a match played on Silent Fjord. On the bottom left-hand corner of Silent Fjord, you have myself. I'm playing the red pieces here, and then in the top right-hand corner of the map we have Rynus playing the blue pieces. So we played each other a couple times. I feel like I'm quite familiar with Rynus's playstyle, where he likes to go for this quick house, and then he goes into workshop. So just quickly talking about my mindset going into this game, what I wanted to achieve is I wanted to get an economic advantage in the early game, go into beasts, and then move forward from there. Definitely planning to go for dragons as fast as I can, but we'll see how that goes at that point. So before we move on, because there's not too much action going on at this point, if you enjoy my videos, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. I make videos every single day for you guys' enjoyment, and really to just grow the community and make sure that there's a way for people to come out and learn and watch this wonderful game being played. So here I go for this early castle. Haven't really scouted for any proxies, but I feel like I've played this opponent so many times that I don't think he'll go for any proxies. I feel pretty confident in my decision. Possibly not the right decision, but feeling confident anyways. Going for this wolf's den. My opponent is scouting with his worker. He likes to do this. He likes to scout around, make sure that there aren't any proxies going up, probably specifically here, before building his castle. And that makes sense, because by the time you're done scouting, you'll have enough gold to start building this castle. Looks like he repositions that worker. For myself, I'm about to finish this wolf's den. I transfer my workers. I get this one wolf, and I like to go for this house. I didn't see on Silent Fjord. I watched a replay, and someone built their house here. And I actually thought it was pretty good defensively, because then you have these two buildings walling off this ramp. You really only need to worry about what's going on here. I'm going to expand into this direction anyways, so I felt like that was a very safe move. So going for two barracks, or two wolves' den, and then transitioning into wolf play as soon as possible. My opponent typically going for his gyrocraft. I don't have this timing down for this mill just yet, but it looks like what my opponent likes to do is he likes to finish castle, and then as soon as he can, he cuts production on these Gatling guns. He goes into the mill, and then later he'll produce two Gatling guns, and he'll have enough resources at home to be successful. So for myself, I'm purely trying to just scout and see what my opponent is up to. At the same time, I'm trying to get an economic advantage. So very soon, I'll be sending out a worker to build another castle, all while at the same time producing workers and producing army for myself. At this time, my opponent is very wisely going towards gyrocraft, which basically puts an end to this very early harassment. Because of the fact that wolves are not able to shoot up, it really gives the gyrocraft a very clear advantage when this occurs. So I basically am kind of forced to go home. At this point, I feel exposed because I have no units that can shoot up, and I go for these snake charmers. But at the same time, I realize that I'm kind of too late, and that really forces me to make a very expensive decision. Oh my goodness. Looks like the sound is cutting in and out. I wonder if you guys can hear that as well. Let's see if I can, maybe this will, nope. I guess we'll just have to deal with that for this video. And then once I realize he has gyrocraft out, I basically say, okay, well, can't really achieve anything with these wolves anymore. I have to try and go for as much value as possible. I think if I would have played this game again, I would have just sent the wolves home and used them later on to harass this third base, I think. Likewise, well, at the same time, I'm getting my third base, and the fact that he has gyrocraft out and I have no snakes out right now meant that I had to go for these towers here. And that's pretty expensive because it's about, what, 125 per tower? If that's true, then I would be spending about 375 resources on these defensive towers, where, you know, getting another base, getting another unit would be much better for me in the long term. So he basically sees that that he's forced these towers, and he sticks around making sure that I complete them. As a result, I feel like he's pretty content with where he is economically. If I was him, I would even go for a fourth base at this point, knowing where I am economically. All right, but he goes for this army. He goes for more gyrocraft, which is very, very safe, very smart, very well played. He likes to go eventually for this second workshop, and I think he queues up catapults with this at that point. Rynus going for the wall off on his second base there. Very, very smart, very intelligent, I think. Rynus scouts this worker that's kind of moving across the map. I was definitely thinking about going for another base, and I still am at this point. Like I am expanding. Then my opponent also gets this this army out on the other side of the map. Same time, I'm doing a little bit of harassment, and then I want to make sure to get some worker kills, so I put a little bit more attention to what's going on here. At home, my opponent is you know, he's moving out with his army. I've only got a wolf to defend. I've got workers coming out. So he's going to do a little bit of damage there, which is fair enough, I think. For me, I'm just trying to produce as much army at home as I can before I try and go and face this army. So him destroying that wolf den opened up a little bit more room for my workers and wolves to go in there. And I think I have to defend with my workers here, because if I don't have the army right now to defeat this this aggression. That's for sure, I think. So definitely sending the wolves, definitely producing or workers producing snakes behind this to be to have that damage output, definitely important. Once I get to this point, I decide, okay, I have to move back. It's not very safe for me to be here anymore, because you know, I'll be overexposed. I basically want to fight him where he can get caught on this ledge. I have a little bit more army too now, so I can defend. So basically, at this point, this is his two base all-in push, or at least his aggressive timing. And I'm thinking, okay, I need to repel this timing, and if I can do it, I'm safe for a little bit at least. At the very least, I'm safe for a while. So never was able to get that fourth base going, and at this point I am floating so many resources, and my opponent is doing a very good job of staying low on that resource count, which is great for him, actually. Oh, okay, so at this point I've already transitioned into dragons. Should do a better job of keeping track of that. I wonder if my opponent has seen this transition. No, he has not. But he is going for mills anyways. Like if I look, he's got a mill in production or an advanced workshop, so that could be for ballista play or whatever that might end up being. And now I'm sure he's seen these dragon layers on the production here, and he'll definitely be able to transfer into Ballista play, which is exactly what he was going for in the first place. And I want to go into dragons because dragons kill armies like this that can't shoot up. They absolutely tear it apart. Distinctly because the opposing army can't fire and basically can't attack back. I see this army come in. I basically decide, okay, I'm gonna send in my wolves and my snakes to do as much damage as possible, and that's essentially what I end up doing here. As much damage as possible. I kill a couple gyrocraft, I kill a couple gatlings, and at this point I feel like he does not have enough army to be aggressive, especially now that I've had this dragon come up and now I have dragons on the production and coming on the way. Got a base advantage at this point, so 4 bases against 3. And I am, I don't know if I have the worker advantage though. That's got to be, let's go ahead and look at, yeah. So Rynus has 45 workers to my 36. Even though I'm a base above him, he's still able to mine more than I am by about 400 more resources. He's able to mine more. It looks like at this point he wants to expand, so expanding onto the next base. Very smart by him. I feel like, let me take a look at this army he has at home. Yeah, he's got ballista, he's got catapults. I think if I would move out right now, which I am doing, I would probably have a good time against that. It's a very spread out army. The pathing of my units is very interesting here. Very interesting. And then I decide to go for a 5th base as well to make sure that I stay economically ahead. My opponent going for this this ballista upgrade, which is very strong, very powerful. And I basically see, okay, he's got this army. I'm gonna keep harassing it, hold it at bay with my dragons. Eventually, he gets his ballista right in the right spot. And then I see that he has this this next base coming up. So I basically decide, all right, I have to fight here. I want to keep this economic advantage. I'm going to fight. And at this point, I basically should have been turning onto his army here, or retreating because he actually has these catapults and they dish a lot of damage. They one-shot snakes, especially having them grouped up like this. Really stinks. At least gonna stink. So I basically, once I decide that that fight is no longer worth taking, I basically retreat at home, assemble another army. I've got more bases than he does at this point. I'm able to produce more workers at this point, producing these dragons. Very content with that. I've also forced my opponent to build towers at home, right? Because if he doesn't have these towers, my dragons could easily come in and harass some of these units. He's not building towers here because he's got his army being assembled. But this ballista airship combo, very good at shutting down dragons. Very good at that aggression. At this point, I should have been sending this army to harass. Definitely should have been doing more of that this game. Just sending wolves and snakes to harass wherever his army isn't, and doing as much damage that way. Definitely would have been. I would have been more happy with my play if I would have done that, for sure. My opponent going for his upgrades. At this point, I decided to get my upgrade buildings. Being on a couple bases, I probably should have done it a little bit earlier even. But this is the first full-on fight that we have. I've got 4 dragons. He's got a couple ballista out, which is really good at zoning these dragons off and making it basically impossible for these dragons to participate in the fight. I end up losing my whole army there and my 2 dragons that I have or had for that fight. He moves up this ramp, sees that I have a house here. He destroys it. He's obviously going to do as much damage as he wants. And so what I basically decide is I'll get rid of this. I'll give up this space. I'll go for another one here because I have the resources to go for that. All the while assembling another army at home and basically using this this base as like a distraction for my opponent, giving me more time to assemble what I need to assemble at home. And I am assembling, like I'm getting dragons like crazy, getting wolves like crazy, while also producing workers and getting my resources up. So as we can see, my opponent, moves in towards my building here. At this point, he's doing a very good job microing his ballista here, doing a fantastic job. For me, I'm microing to try and kill these ballista, because I know that if I can kill these ballista, I will be in such a good point in this fight, because he won't have any units that will be able to shoot up at me. So I really hope I kill this ballista really soon here. I eventually do. I wish I was able to give more attention to that, especially canceling this that castle. But overall now, oh yeah, he's able to get an absolute mess of a hit on my units. But at this point, I've got dragons. He's not able to counter those at all, at least not anymore. And then I've got units on the production tab, so definitely feeling like I will be able to win this overall. Sending in some workers, because this mine is depleted now, so I'm definitely sending in, or trying to, well, at least trying to be smart about my workers. I know he's going to want to kill them now. As you can see, he's going to... Oh, actually, that was not good. He killed a bunch there. Okay, definitely could have played that a little bit better. He did end up killing like half of a mineral line, I guess you could call it. Yeah, that's rough, but I guess it happened. Learn from your mistakes. My opponent, doing a good job staying. I think he likes to stay at a maximum of 3 bases. I guess it keeps him more condensed, more tight. Or for me, I feel like I'm more of an amoeba, expanding all over the place, trying to get more army out there, and that likely. And rightfully so, because as playing Beast, that is kind of the objective, to basically, out expand your opponent, and eventually out harass them as well. But my opponent Rynus, he does a very good decision of going for a lot more ballista. And immediately when I see this, I think I should have quit producing dragons. And I should have just been like, okay, now I have to prioritize producing snakes and producing wolves, because he at this point he hard counters my dragons now. He's gonna be able to like one-shot my dragons with all this, but he won't be able to one-shot my ground army anymore. So now I should definitely be thinking about going for wolves and snakes. Well, sending something to harass this area, that's why I was thinking like I could have done a much better job of playing a harassing game. But at this point, my my opponent's comp really counters anything that I'm able to do at this point. You can see that these ballista are coming up, and these ballista actually end up being like the frontline units for him, because I'm thinking about like going for these Gatling guns with my dragons, but these ballista, as you can see, do a fantastic job of countering my dragons. So at this point, I say GG. Rynus was really good about keeping me on low bases for Beast, as like that's what I think. 4 bases for Beast or 3 for Beast is, I don't know, pretty low in my opinion. He was able to expand and outproduce me in that sense. But good game to my opponent, guys. If you enjoyed this video, I really appreciate you watching and enjoying my content. Please leave a like and subscribe, and be here tomorrow for the next video. All right, guys. Goodbye.